Howdy, friends. Handyman Bob Villia here. Today we're talking about the topic Terre Haute, Indiana interiors. You know, Terre Haute's a nice little Midwestern town.
No, Bob. It's Haute Interiors, not Terre Haute Interiors, okay?
Yeah, I knew that. Looking to add a bit of flair and sophistication to your home? Well, sit back and relax as we explore Haute interior design ideas on today's Christopher Lowell Show. I'll show you Haute interiors. How's that?
Give me that.
Oh, the director wants me to give him the bird.
Everybody. All right, I'm Christopher Lowell, and let me ask you this. How many times have you heard me say that if you can get up and get dressed in the morning, you're probably overqualified to decorate your home? Yes, I know, probably about a bazillion times, right? Well, if you think about it, it's true. When it comes to putting together an outfit, I bet you could whip up something fabulous just like that, right? And that includes the shoes, the handbag, the accessories, and everything else, right? Well, today, we're going to show you that there's really no difference between dressing yourself and dressing a room. Instead of haute couture, that's actually spelled Haute, but it's pronounced haute, like in O-A-T. That's right, it's a French term about fancy schmancy design stuff. We're calling it haute interiors today. And to prove our point, we're going to show you how finding your own design style can be as easy as going shopping for clothes, or by simply walking or looking into your own closet. Who knew? Okay, we've got some great cover-ups, plus we're going to see how some top fashion designers are translating their winning styles into their own home furnishings. And, oh yes, speaking of home furnishings, after years as a top model, our first guest turned her attention to fashion design. Well, today, this busy mother of two has successfully crossed over into the world of home furnishings with her own line of furniture and accessories. Joining us now is the famous Kathy Ireland. Kathy, how are you today?
Hi, I am.
What do you have here?
Well, thank you. I brought you a little housewarming gift.
Well, thank you.
I worked on that with my partners at As You Like It, and you can take it home. You can do whatever
Oh,
you
how
like with
beautiful. Well, you got the color scheme right down. This is just another of the many pieces that you've already helped us with to furnish this entire set.
Thank you. It is such an honor for me to be able to have pieces from my collection on your show.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you. And this is perfect here. Love that.
Thank you.
Have a seat, my darling. Have a seat in your chair.
What you have done. This is amazing.
Well, thank you.
I love how you put this together. I love when I walk into a room and I get a sense of the person who lives there. And just,
that's great.
I just, as you have been telling everyone, I believe that everyone has their own unique sense of style, and it's just a matter of bringing it out.
Now, how does it make you feel when you walk into a room and you know the furniture is yours, but you see the choices that other people make? Does it make you feel like how versatile the furniture really is?
I love that, and I love what you said about if you can get yourself dressed, you can put a room together.
Exactly.
And so much of what I've learned in fashion apparel translates into the home. Mm-hmm. And if you work with the right color palettes, whether you're talking about your wardrobe or your home, mm-hmm. you can make it foolproof. And
I totally agree.
You can mix and match, and no two people are going to put it together the same way.
That's exactly right. And I think one of the things that your collection allows us to do is it allows us to do a lot of eclectic mixing and matching, which encourages us not to just buy everything that's all the same.
Right.
Now, I think one of the lessons that we have learned, certainly, is I think the perfect example is that solid dress that you're willing to pay a lot more money for because you know it's going to be a standard in your wardrobe for a long period of time. Well, that's kind of the approach that we took when we used your lines. You had sent us a lot of patterned stuff originally, and then we said, you know what? We want to do the upholstery in something a little more neutral so that as our tastes change, mm-hmm. we can integrate pattern and texture a little bit later on down the line. So this is the sort of the patterns that we chose, which were these here. This was going to be our sofa pattern. We love the copper idea mm-hmm. because of the wood that we were going to put into the new environment in our floor. And then this is the chair, which is a weave chenille, which is so pretty, very durable.
Yes, they're family friendly is the key. The mission statement at Kathy Ireland Worldwide is to provide solutions for families, especially busy moms, and
That's great.
So it's something that's very important. You know, when we were kids, I'm sure you had this experience too. People would always say to us, you know, keep the kids out of the living room, don't let them go in there. And I want my children to feel comfortable in any room.
Well, I think that was so totally the approach when we designed this space using your furniture, because we wanted you to be able to put your feet up, you know, on an oversized ottoman, be able to relax in a club chair. And I've always had this sort of thing: how many people can actually sit in a love seat who are strangers?
Absolutely.
So this
absolutely.
is such a better combination. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at some of the furniture in the house, shall we?
Wonderful. I'd love to.
One of the things that we loved was the scale of this sofa.
Yeah, well, one thing that I'm really finding, I see comfort not as a trend, but a revolution, and beautiful people come in all shapes and sizes. I want everyone to feel comfortable.
That's great. That's great.
So that's definitely what went into mind in designing this.
This is longer than a love seat, and it's shorter than a normal couch.
Yes.
Which means you can. I found that this particular style allowed me to really dual function in a room. Meaning I can have a sofa sitting area and still have another area.
Absolutely, and if you're living in a smaller space, it gives you that option. Or if you're living in a larger space, it gives a person a lot more options.
Exactly. The coffee table, really good solution. I'm always telling people, when you invest in a coffee table, make sure there's something under here.
Yes.
So the magazines go here, so there's living space here.
Absolutely, and I love when we can bring elements of the outdoors in with the wicker and the wood and the colors that you've chosen. It gives the room, I think, a nice warm feeling.
Now, I will tell our viewers at home, for camera purposes, we have actually frosted the top of this.
Yes.
So it doesn't reflect a lot of light, but these are actually clear in your collection.
Clear glass.
Speaking of clear glass, let's go over to the dining room table. When you first initially came on the show, I fell in love with this whole set, and I loved the idea that you were taking the wrought iron and something sort of elegant and formal, such as this, and mixing it with these sort of Bombay-style chairs.
Absolutely. You know, I'm finding that people are more adventurous in their taste.
Yeah.
Regardless of their age, people are taking more chances, and it's fun. Again, this is bringing the outdoors in, and
It's great looking.
You can't make a mistake.
So
Any
there's a
chair
sense
you
of
work with
texture.
this table
Exactly.
will work.
And this is the fabric that we chose that we really liked a lot, because we felt here again it could stay neutral. I could put a chartreuse throw pillow here for spring, and I'm in business, right?
Absolutely.
But we got more. Let's go on over to the to this table here. Now, I'm going to get on this side of you, so I can hold this great bird cage up. Before we take a look at that, let's take a look at some of these smaller pieces.
Cabbage-inspired bowls, and they're fun, and it adds that element of color and the accent.
Very pretty, and here you see a large overscale cage, which I think is so great looking. Here again, these things have nice patinas on them, so they feel old.
They do, and they just kind of complete a room.
And then back in here, one of my favorite pieces that you have in the line is this day bed, which I think is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And it comes in different finishes.
That's right.
And,
in fact, a lot of this stuff does. We should say that. Even, for instance, this armoire here.
The armoire, and they come in different finishes. And something that's new this year that really complements all of the pieces. My partners at Shaw and I have developed Shades of America Color Wall, which is wall-to-wall carpeting. It's got
that's needed.
So many great solutions just from the way that we've named it to make it easy to take the fear out of putting a room together. If a woman chooses midnight blue, she'll know anything in the blues work. And speaking
great.
of color, I can't talk about color without talking about your paint.
I know. We should we need to do something together on that.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely. Well, I want you to come back and talk all about that system for us at another time. Will you do that for us?
I would love to.
Thank you.
I would love to. Thank you so much.
And it's so nice because I have all of your things in my house now. Thank you. All right.
Thank
now,
you.
Coming back, we're going to still, sort of linger around the catwalk for a couple of great ideas. But first, we're going to go do a little bit of clothes shopping. Yes, we're going to clothes shop for a sofa and a chair and some drapes. Who knew? Well, you'll figure that out when we come back, so we'll see you in a minute. Yeah, it's terrific.
Thank you.
And the stuff looks great.
Oh.
Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're out to prove that if you can get up and dress your own bad self, then you can dress a room. The concept is pretty simple because we're dealing with the same kind of choices. The way you choose color, fabric, and accessories to coordinate an outfit is the same process you go through to coordinate a room. Duh. In fact, we found a very unique shop that specializes in fashion by some of the world's hottest designers and for a fraction of the cost. Could you die? So come along as we head off to Clothes Heaven. We're here on a busy little side street in Pasadena, California. That's right, the place where the Rose Bowl is every year. Now, I'm always saying to you, if you can get up in the morning, get dressed halfway decent, you are overqualified to do your own home. Because really, it's about fabric and texture and accessories. Duh! So to prove the point, we've come to a little place called Clothes Heaven. And basically what Clothes Heaven is a vintage shop that retails, well, some really good, slightly used, but really expensive clothing at a fraction of the cost. Now, this is not about fashion, but we're going to see how fashion relates to home interiors. Oh boy, what up with this? Let's go inside. Now, Larayne, I'm always telling women that if you can get up and get yourself together, that you're overqualified to do the interior design in your own home, because it's really about fabrics and texture and proportion and comfort and all those things, right?
Putting everything together in your own special way.
Now, it seems to me, and we've experimented many times with this, we put women in this kind of environment and they feel very comfortable. We take the same attitude, we put them in a home furnishings department, and suddenly the stakes go up, the anxiety goes up, and everything just sort of falls apart. So I'm going to have you talk about fashion, and I'm going to talk about how the things that we've pre-selected really do relate to the home.
This is what I call a basic canvas of a dress.
Right.
That it's simple and elegant on its own, and it's beautiful on its own, but then if you add the piece de resistance
Which
to
is
that,
the jacket to it.
It changes the complete look and oomps it up a level.
So in terms of interior design, this would be basically your layer number 3, your high-ticket upholstery.
Indeed.
This is a good, safe investment for a sofa, a side chair, that kind of a thing. This is a great, flashy pillow put on top of that sofa that makes it look great.
That makes it be what people go, ooh.
Exactly. This is where you put your big investment. This is the fun stuff that you're going to have fun with. And when you get bored with this, you change this, right?
And this is the easy part to buy.
Exactly.
This is a Gautier suit that's gorgeous rayon crepe fabric that we then put this Giorgio Armani white label top underneath. That's a jacquard that's just a little bit of a print combination with a print combination.
And then we have basically a striped, very, very narrow striped pant. Now this is the perfect ensemble for a monochromatic room. This is a perfect upholstery fabric in the sense that it's neutral, but it's got texture involved with it. This added to it would be fabulous as a drape in that room, and then this as throw pillows in that room.
That would be perfect.
It's amazing, you know, it's interesting. What we're really trying to say is you already have the skills to do this, so fabric shouldn't be intimidating just because it's on a bolt. Now you like this one because you say this one is sassy, huh?
This one's a very classic,
It's a Chanel.
right now Chanel suit with the piping on the pockets and on the going down the front of the jacket, and then the piece de resistance on this one is the buttons.
That's right. This would be our layer number 6, our accessory. Now, what's interesting about this is you find that a lot of the big couture houses, the majority of their lines usually are for the classic solids. And they do that for a reason, I would imagine, because this becomes really a classic, it becomes a staple in your wardrobe,
A
correct?
staple in your wardrobe that will never go out of style, that you can just change the little bits of the different layers and the different piece de resistance to make it be even more today or even more 1940s and 50s.
For instance, once you hold that, now, there are other areas. Let's say this is our solid, okay? This would be our high-ticket upholstery. Okay, let's say that we just want to add a little bit more texture, so we now have something like this. So now you've got accessories here and here that go with your high-ticket upholstery, which is here. Cool.
They've combined the texture of the jacket with the silk flounce of the skirt.
Here again, great upholstery fabric, terrific shears at the window. Perfect.
Perfect.
And it all works together.
This is a beautiful Richard Tyler silk suit. It's a pale amethyst done with candy pink stitching on it, done on the buttonholes and on the inside. They also have the same candy pink.
Isn't that great? So this would be a great drapery fabric with a fun lining on the inside.
Perfect lining.
As you puddle back, this would fall to the floor, which would be great.
Magnificent.
Wonderful for a boudoir. This is great because it would be tailored enough for him, but luxurious enough for her. Good idea. Good bedroom colors. Here again, we're back to our basics, right?
Definitely. This is a Prada frock that's got beautiful, kind of a steel gray silk fabric that then they've done little bits of interesting detail, almost in a home fashion kind of a way, with a little bit of the stitching and the gathering.
Exactly. So this is typical of what we'd see like on a decorative pillow, that kind of a thing. But what's great about it is you still have texture without destroying your classic background. This is your classic little black dress, right?
This is a Prada that's really kind of almost a boiled wool kind of a fabric that then they've done a little bit of detail of a rubber trim.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so here again, we've got two different textures that are great for a home environment, especially a high-tech home environment.
Very much
where we're
so.
using a lot of rubber as accents. This could be a book on, or wheels on a rollaway cart, that kind of a thing. But then, I mean, everything goes with this, right?
Everything goes with this because this is the basic canvas.
So this is what you'll have all your life? This is the stuff that goes in and out of style?
The little fun details.
Great. Now this I could see as a pair of club chairs.
Magnificent.
Right. This I could see as a beautiful drapery fabric.
Perfect.
Pull back. And this I could see as either upholstery or a wonderful throw on a solid sofa. It's perfect. It's all right there. And what's interesting too is in your business, you spend a great deal of time pre-coordinating things like this, so it makes it easier.
We play dress-ups all the time. And it's multiple pieces. And then this is their piece de resistance, doing the gold detail that St. John does so much of. And St. John's also famous for doing lots of jewelry and different accessories and purses and things like that. Yes, that's just what you have there, little St. John accessories to go with it.
That's right. So this becomes, in our layer number 6, which we consider everything from mirrors to little tchotchkes around the home. That's what this is.
Little tchotchkes, right
That's
there.
right. And by changing the attitude of this, let's say we change out this top to a pattern of some kind.
Or this could be even like a gold metallic tank to dress this up a layer.
Exactly. Same principles apply when you're choosing fabrics for the home. It's amazing how the correlation is there. And what's great about this, too, is even though it's dramatic, it's still textural, which means any pattern that you're going to put with this will probably go. Terrific. And finally, we have the ultimate throw that goes over any sofa, which is basically the chenille. Good, solid, basic. Over the top of that, then you begin adding all the different accessories that work. This is fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wasn't that fun? So, who needs the fashion police? Now, just by looking at the color of fabrics and textures of the dress, you'll be able to visualize almost an entire room. Pretty cool. Get it? Okay. Now, looking to recover a sofa or chair, but can't afford the right fabric or material? When we come back, we're going to show you how with some paint, some fabric. Who knew? Some painted fabric. There we go. Right back. Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're out to prove that if you can get up and dress your own bad self, then you can dress a room. The concept is pretty simple because we're dealing with the same kind of choices. The way you choose color, fabric, and accessories to coordinate an outfit is the same process you go through to coordinate a room. Duh. In fact, we found a very unique shop that specializes in fashion by some of the world's hottest designers and for a fraction of the cost. Could you die? So come along as we head off to Clothes Heaven. We're here on a busy little side street in Pasadena, California. That's right, the place where the Rose Bowl is every year. Now, I'm always saying to you, if you can get up in the morning, get dressed halfway decent, you are overqualified to do your own home. Because really, it's about fabric and texture and accessories. Duh! So to prove the point, we've come to a little place called Clothes Heaven. And basically what Clothes Heaven is a vintage shop that retails, well, some really good, slightly used, but really expensive clothing at a fraction of the cost. Now, this is not about fashion, but we're going to see how fashion relates to home interiors. Oh boy, what up with this? Let's go inside. Now, Larayne, I'm always telling women that if you can get up and get yourself together, that you're overqualified to do the interior design in your own home, because it's really about fabrics and texture and proportion and comfort and all those things, right?
Putting everything together in your own special way.
Now, it seems to me, and we've experimented many times with this, we put women in this kind of environment and they feel very comfortable. We take the same attitude, we put them in a home furnishings department, and suddenly the stakes go up, the anxiety goes up, and everything just sort of falls apart. So I'm going to have you talk about fashion, and I'm going to talk about how the things that we've pre-selected really do relate to the home.
This is what I call a basic canvas of a dress.
Right.
That it's simple and elegant on its own, and it's beautiful on its own, but then if you add the piece de resistance
Which
to
is
that,
the jacket to it.
It changes the complete look and oomps it up a level.
So in terms of interior design, this would be basically your layer number 3, your high-ticket upholstery.
Indeed.
This is a good, safe investment for a sofa, a side chair, that kind of a thing. This is a great flashy pillow put on top of that sofa that makes it look great.
That makes it be what people go, ooh.
Exactly. This is where you put your big investment. This is the fun stuff that you're going to have fun with. And when you get bored with this, you change this, right?
And this is the easy part to buy.
Exactly.
This is a Gautier suit that's gorgeous rayon crepe fabric that we then put this Giorgio Armani white label top underneath. That's a jacquard that's just a little bit of a print combination with a print combination.
And then we have basically a striped, very, very narrow striped pant. Now this is the perfect ensemble for a monochromatic room. This is a perfect upholstery fabric in the sense that it's neutral, but it's got texture involved with it. This added to it would be fabulous as a drape in that room, and then this as throw pillows in that room.
That would be perfect.
It's amazing, you know, it's interesting. What we're really trying to say is you already have the skills to do this, so fabric shouldn't be intimidating just because it's on a bolt. Now you like this one because you say this one is sassy, huh?
This one's a very classic,
It's a Chanel.
right now Chanel suit with the piping on the pockets and on the going down the front of the jacket, and then the piece de resistance on this one is the buttons.
That's right. This would be our layer number 6, our accessory. Now, what's interesting about this is you find that a lot of the big couture houses, the majority of their lines usually are for the classic solids. And they do that for a reason, I would imagine, because this becomes really a classic, it becomes a staple in your wardrobe, correct?
A staple in your wardrobe that will never go out of style, that you can just change the little bits of the different layers and the different piece de resistance to make it be even more today or even more 1940s and 50s.
For instance, once you hold that, now, there are other areas. Let's say this is our solid, okay? This would be our high-ticket upholstery, okay? Let's say that we just want to add a little bit more texture, so we now have something like this. So now you've got accessories here and here that go with your high-ticket upholstery, which is here. Cool.
They've combined the texture of the jacket with the silk flounce of the skirt.
Here again, great upholstery fabric, terrific shears at the window. Perfect.
Perfect.
And it all works together.
This is a beautiful Richard Tyler silk suit. That's a pale amethyst done with candy pink stitching on it, done on the buttonholes and on the inside. They also have the same candy pink.
Isn't that great? So this would be a great drapery fabric with a fun lining on the inside.
Perfect lining.
As you puddle back, this would fall to the floor, which would be great.
Magnificent.
Wonderful for a boudoir. This is great because it would be tailored enough for him, but luxurious enough for her. Good idea. Good bedroom colors. Here again, we're back to our basics, right?
Definitely. This is a Prada frock that's got beautiful, kind of a steel gray silk fabric that then they've done little bits of interesting detail, almost in a home fashion kind of a way, with a little bit of the stitching and the gathering.
Exactly. So this is typical of what we see like on a decorative pillow, that kind of a thing. But what's great about it is you still have texture without destroying your classic background. This is your classic little black dress, right?
This is a Prada that's really kind of almost a boiled wool kind of a fabric that then they've done a little bit of detail of a rubber trim.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so here again we've got two different textures that are great for a home environment, especially a high-tech home environment.
Very much
where we're
so.
using a lot of rubber as accents. This could be a book on, or wheels on a rollaway cart, that kind of a thing. But then, I mean, everything goes with this, right?
Everything goes with this because this is the basic canvas.
So this is what you'll have all your life? This is the stuff that goes in and out of style.
The little fun details.
Great. Now this I could see as a pair of club chairs,
Magnificent.
right? This I could see as a beautiful drapery fabric.
Perfect.
Pull back, and this I could see as either upholstery or a wonderful throw on a solid sofa. It's
Magnificent.
perfect. It's all right there. And what's interesting too is in your business, you spend a great deal of time pre-coordinating things like this, so it makes it easier.
We play dress-ups all the time, and it's multiple pieces. And then this is their piece de resistance, doing the gold detail that St. John does so much of. And St. John's also famous for doing lots of jewelry and different accessories and purses and things like that. Yes, that's
we talk
just what
about-
you have there, little
There we
St.
go.
John accessories to go with
That's right.
it.
So this becomes, in our layer number 6, which we consider everything from mirrors to little tchotchkes around the home. That's what this is.
Little tchotchkes right
That's
there.
right. And by changing the attitude of this, let's say we change out this top to a pattern of some kind.
Or this could be even like a gold metallic tank to dress this up a layer.
Exactly. Same principles apply when you're choosing fabrics for the home. It's amazing how the correlation is there. And what's great about this, too, is even though it's dramatic, it's still textural. which means any pattern that you're going to put with this will probably go. Terrific. And finally, we have the ultimate throw that goes over any sofa, which is basically the chenille. Good, solid, basic. Over the top of that, then you begin adding all the different accessories that work. This is fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wasn't that fun? So, who needs the fashion police? Now, just by looking at the color of fabrics and textures of the dress, you'll be able to visualize almost an entire room. Pretty cool. Get it? Okay. Now, looking to recover a sofa or chair, but can't afford the right fabric or material? When we come back, we're going to show you how with some paint, some fabric. Who knew? Some painted fabric. There we go. Right back. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're getting decorating ideas from the world of fashion. Now, do you have a piece of upholstered furniture you just love to make over? Well, when it comes to finding creative fabric solutions, our next guest believes in following his intuition while taking a few risks. Joining us now is fabric designer Robert Fischer. How are you, Robert?
Hi, how are you, Chris?
Welcome. This is like a fantasy land here. This is really terrific stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Well, my life is a fantasy land. So.
Well, tell me a little bit about it. How did you get started in this?
Actually, I had trouble sleeping one night, and I covered up one of my wife's canvases, which was politically incorrect. Of course, in the 70s, nobody cared.
Was she an artist?
Yeah, she was an artist, and instead of telling me to go to sleep, she said, well, I just love the way the colors go together, and so I gave up being a shrink, studying to be a shrink, and decided to be an artist.
Oh, so these are organized nightmares?
Kind of, yeah. People think I'm on drugs when I do these.
Well, I'll tell you, they're very colorful, but they're very well thought out, too. Now, one of the things that you're talking about is manipulating images. Let's take a look first of the piece that we have up on the wall. Is that Lana Turner?
No, actually, that's Frances Farmer.
Oh, it's Frances Farmer.
The lady
okay.
with the ice pick lobotomy.
Oh, dear. You say this is actually your logo.
It's my logo, and I actually have a tattoo of that. I just saw it in a magazine about 20 years ago, and it just really impacted me. And it has what I call artistic economics. In other words, it works in all sizes, and it's maximum effort, maximum effect, little effort.
Interesting. To prove that, let's go right next to it here to take a look at this jacket, which is done. Now, it looks almost totally different here because of how you've rearranged it and manipulated it.
Well, it's true, and the thing is, what I love about that design, about that image, is you can use it in many different ways, and you can see on the jacket that the whole jacket is painted, and parts of the face are carried over on the sleeves, which you really can't see, but the whole image is manipulated and taken apart.
Now we see it here, talk about art and fashion coming together. Now you've taken art and fashion and furnishings and put it all together.
Right.
This is the Bette Midler chair?
That's a Bette Midler chair. Now, it was interesting about most of my furniture comes from all sources. This happened to come from an estate sale. It was covered in peach satin when I found it from like the 40s.
No kidding.
So it was in really bad shape, but I love the design of the chair. And again, it's the same colors that are used in the Frances Farmer.
Now what is this process? This almost looks as though it started out as a photograph and then was manipulated from there, almost like if you blew something up on a Xerox machine.
Well, I did, actually, because I was always insecure about my drawing, so I came up with ways of using what's called an opaque projector. Now, when I was involved with fashion, I needed to have people help me, and I created templates. So I took the image, reduced it to a basic line drawing, which I would suggest people doing. And then by projecting, you see when you project, you can't see the front of this chair, but when you project into curved surfaces, like you would on fabric, the image gets distorted, and those distortions are interesting visually.
Absolutely.
And it also helps me because then I don't have to draw it.
So basically, you could, I'm thinking of our home viewer, you could actually take one of these projectors, put in a slide, reduce it basically to its minimal form, line, almost like turning something into what would be like a coloring book.
Well, that's what it is. You can actually put it through a computer, and a computer will do it for you.
Oh, yeah, computers are amazing.
Or you get an opaque projector, which means it projects solid photos as opposed to transparency. So if they find an image in a magazine that they like, they can use that.
Explain to us what this process is and some of the materials that we use, because I think our viewers are going, oh, you know what, I have a really nasty piece of furniture that I'd like to try this on.
Right, well, this chair is painted, this is on leather. I painted, the Bette Midler is painted on fabric.
Okay.
And when you paint on fabric, especially when you're doing clothes, they have to be flexible. People can't walk around looking like they're wearing sandwich signs.
Right.
So it took me a lot to develop different chemicals, and I work with Golden Paints, and they developed this chemical for me.
Okay.
Which, when you mix this Now this they can get from Golden Paints.
Okay.
But this is just Flow Improver, which is, you can get it at any art supply store. When you mix the two of them together with like acrylic paints,
I see.
it breaks down the plastic so that it makes it flexible.
Great.
So these are all things that are obtainable.
So acrylic, we've got the Flow Improver, and we have this product as well. Okay, great.
Right.
Now you can go to our website, everybody, and get this formula. Now, let's say we've started with our drawing, okay?
And you can see that what I've done is I've pre-drawn this out before I came here on the show. Now, whenever you're painting on anything other than white and you want bright colors, you can't use just regular colored paint because the paint, as it dries, gets darker.
That makes sense.
So, which means you'd have to put on more coats. So what I do is, and what I've done here, even though this is a light color, I painted it white so that I can get the true color. Let's say I wanted to use, like, making this bright blue. I wouldn't have to paint it many coats.
Gotcha. So this becomes a good base coat that will enrich any of the colors that you put on top of it.
Right, and when you're dealing with furniture, you're dealing with stuff that doesn't have to be that flexible.
And I noticed that you have this very sparkly stuff, which we see on the backs of the sofas. You've got little Judy Garland here. Back here.
And actually we have Francis, same image of Francis Farmer here.
Too.
Now what this is called, this is diamond dust, and diamond dust is actually pulverized glitter, which means it's a very, very fine powder because there's nothing tackier than sitting on something or touching something you can feel the glitter.
Yeah, I mean, I actually have it on my hands and can't even feel it.
Yeah, well, you got that from here. The reason it works on the furniture and in the clothing, if you take a look at, especially here, is that the paints are translucent. So the glitter, this pulverized diamond dust, sits between the layers of the paint. So it never comes off. The clothes were dry cleanable. The furniture, people always want to know if they're usable, and they are.
That's terrific.
And they're varnished.
And here you see a great image on the back of this Armani, which is great. So here we've got form, fashion, function, and fantasy. Thank you so much, Bob. This has been great.
Thanks very much.
Come back and see us again.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
Okay. Now up next, we're going to do some shadow boxing. Stay right there, and you'll figure out exactly what I mean. This is a great image.
Yeah, that's Penelope Tree. Do you remember?
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're getting some inspiration from the Fashion Runway. Now, one of the great things that you can do to make fabulous artwork for your home is actually use fashion on the walls. Yeah, we're going to show you how to do a great archive and sort of shadow box thing all in one. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to a framing shop and seen the prices on some of these very custom boxes that will hold a great family heirloom. Very pricey. I'm going to show you how, for a fraction of that cost, you can make two different kinds. One is the kind that you make from scratch because you have something, let's say, like a wedding dress that's very oversized, okay, which could cost you a fortune. Then I'm going to show you how to buy a store-bought frame for smaller items and adapt that into a shadow box, okay? Let's first start with making your own. Basically, what I have here is just some pine strips that I've mitered each of the corners, okay? You can get a little miter box from any, like a Home Depot, one of those kind of places. Now, depending on what I'm going to actually display in this box determines how thick these rails are actually going to be. Obviously, for here, we're going to just do a couple of flat objects in here, but if you want to do something like a pair of shoes that are going to be large, then you increase the size of these. So, having made 4 of those, one for each side, that's not so hard, we miter those together, and with finishing nails, we glue and nail, and that creates a box, okay? At this point, you also want to be able to know that this interior measurement will be just a hair bigger than your glass, okay? So you're looking here now at the back of this. When that's done, then it's time to make it look real pretty. So here now you can begin to add molding on the outside. This is inverted molding, okay? So you're looking at this from the top like so. And that gets attached all the way around, but it gets attached just a little bit thicker. So there's a lip here. That will help hold that'll be ledged so that when you go ahead from the back and you put your plexiglass or your glass in, this will keep it from popping out the other side, okay? Now, when that's all done, then you want to take your little strips and go all the way around close. Let me show you what that looks like. Let me get rid of all of this and show you when it's built to this stage. Here you see the front of it and what that looks like. Okay, get rid of all of this stuff that we don't need no more. Okay, there's the top. You see the lip here for the plexiglass. Okay, we turn this over And you see that lip now, right there. Okay, now it's time to add that plexiglass, okay? Now you can do this with glass, you can do it with non-glare, anything that you really want to do. I would suggest on really big, oversized pieces that you use plexiglass, and make sure that the plexiglass is archivable, meaning that it's an acid-free plexi and there is such a thing, okay? So that's, of course, if you want to really be an heirloom. Then, in order to keep that plexiglass in place, we just take these little strips here, and we place these all the way around inside, like so. Okay? These get glued and attached in. But before we do that, we want to upholster everything, okay? So here's the strips that you see. We simply took a little bit of spray, Super 77, sprayed it on the stick, added some fabric, turned it once, twice, with a little bit of overlap, and then this goes into place like so, okay? The back is done like we do 1,000,002 times with a little bit of glue on for the back, okay? A little bit of batting, and then whatever color of background that we want that will really show off our pieces and make them look really pretty. This is then turned over, and of course this is then stapled like we have all the way around until you get a completed edge, all right? That then lays flat down inside of here, like so, and then it's then covered with a final back all the way around to keep it really archivably nice. Now, let's just talk for a minute about how we attach our things. Here, we just got a lovely pair of gloves. This is all about arranging. That's all this is. So we got a lovely pair of gloves like so. I love this old sort of vintage retro scarf. And here again, take your time. Lay this out 3 or 4 different ways until you get something that you really, really like. And understand that depending on how you want to hang it, gravity is not your friend here. So let's say I got a couple of things like that. And let's say I wanted to add, let's say, a beaded purse. It's a beautiful still life. And then simply with just small little pins, you want to begin pinning everything into place, okay? You pin it so that when you hold this board up, it doesn't fall apart, okay? Now, you can use double stick tape, all those things, as long as it's acid-free. Anything you need to really secure your work the way it is. Now, if, let's say, you want to do a smaller object, then you can by simply getting a store-bought frame like this, increasing the thickness by simply making a railing piece all the way around it that goes just the size of the opening. Here are your rails that will go inside to be upholstered. Your back is then upholstered and attached. You want to see what it looks like when it's all pulled together? Come take a look. These are so gorgeous. Here you see one that was done with a store-bought frame, and it's all upholstered on the inside. It looks gorgeous. And depending on your background color, it can look great. And the big kahuna on the wall here, look at this wedding dress. Little subtler background, huge, big, beautiful, a great focal point to a room. Who knew? Okay, when we come back, we're having a Mac attack. Think rugs, think Mac, thinks rugs by Bob Mackie. Yeah, so hurry right back. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're getting inspiration and ideas from the world of fashion and hopefully bringing those ideas home. Now, one designer who's been turning heads with his incredible evening gowns and creations is the incomparable Bob Mackie. Inspired by his love of high fashion, he recently entered the world of home furnishings, starting from the ground up. If you love his designs, then you're really going to love his collection of new area rugs by Oriental Weavers of America. Some amazing stuff. He's actually done fashion dolls like you've seen here, which are now quite the collector's item. You notice he has a very definite, almost deco flavor to a lot of his work, very Haute inspired. Look at the beautiful detailed beadwork. Let's take a look at the next one. Isn't that gorgeous? Even the headdresses are really, really something. Well, guess what? He's gone into home furnishings, and as I said in the open, he actually has done some really fabulous rugs. Let's take a look at how some of the influences that you see in his fashion have actually translated into the patterns in his area rugs. The first one is called Laura, and there you see, this looks just like some of those feathers that you see in one of those Cher costumes. Very pretty. What I love about these is that they are very muted, so they're going to go really, really well with a lot of other furnishings in the room. This next one is called Spencer. Oh, there we go. Now Spencer has more of almost sort of a bamboo feeling to it. It's very, very textural, but it still has a tremendous amount of drama. What I like about this rug is there's plenty of room to put a coffee table in the center that's not going to interrupt pattern, leaving enough room for the interest on either side, which I think is great. This next one is called Lander, And this has a wonderful geometric feeling for it. This is pretty. This is the kind of thing, too, that you could layer over top of another rug, which I think is so nice, too. Maybe a grass cloth or a sisal underneath as your textural base. Putting this over the top could be really quite smashing. Don't you think? I think so, too. This next one is called Kiana. And this, if this doesn't look like a Bob Mackie headdress, I don't know what does. Isn't that amazing? How the influences and sensibilities of a fashion designer can actually work its way into the home. Well, oddly enough, many of you may not know that I was a costume designer and really wanted to be a fashion designer for many years, but I had a problem with the people at the time, so I didn't go there. But here again, a lot of those sensibilities, when you're thinking about its line, its scale, its texture, its color, and its ultimately comfort, all of those things come into play. So those of you who want to be an interior designer, you also might think of fashion design too. It could be another great career for you. This one is by Lexi. This is called Lexi by Bob Mackie. There again, there's those feathers. How many boas has he wrapped around some famous model or actress? I think that's so cool. Now let's take a quick look at one of his creations. This is actually a Bob Mackie original that he's lent us. Now that we know that he's a big fan of the show, we'll have to take a tour at some point of how he makes these wonderful things. The beadwork, these weigh about 95,000 pounds, by the way, and the beadwork on these is really fabulous. And I bet it really makes you feel terrific to wear something like this. But, why not ask somebody who's done it before, okay? Well, you've heard us saying haute couture all day in fashion, right? Well, why not an haute couture-inspired tablescape? And who better to help us than a former Bob Mackie fashion model, who just happens to be an expert when it comes to in-home entertaining. That's right, she used to be a fashion model on the catwalk. Who knew? You know who it is? Of course you do. Joining us now is the Fab Deb Fabricant.
Hello.
Hi, darling.
Hi.
I'm great.
I should have worn a Mackie today.
You should have worn that.
You should have worn that. I probably can't get into it now.
What was it like working for Bob Mackie?
Oh, he is the most wonderful man in the whole world. He is just wonderful. And I used to wear all of Carol Burnett's costumes, but I'd come out first like the washerwoman, and I'd do this whole shtick thing, as the washerwoman, and then they would play her theme song, and I'd twirl around and rip off the washerwoman costume, and underneath was one of his great
for heaven's sakes.
It was really fun.
And you had to go back into those memories to create a runway
Bob Mackie runway table, yes.
That's great, and that was inspired by this great Bob Mackie book, which we showed you a little bit
I love
earlier.
that book.
Let's start with our invitation, like we always do. Let me creep over here really quickly
this
and get
This is from, again, Deborah at Elements.
You two are such a great partnership,
I know,
the two of you.
she's wonderful, and this is part of the envelopments thing. And I said just black and white and something animal because I had the fur tablecloth, because I thought for fashion we should have a fur tablecloth.
Join
but it's
us
faux
for
fur.
Runway Chic, it says.
And it looks like a Bob Mackie underneath.
Yeah,
I think the camera can pick it up.
And I think, since it's leaning against us,
I
can we look at these?
I
These
know.
are amazing.
Aren't
These
they
are
wonderful?
So In Style magazine.
This is a wonderful artist that I found. Her name is Erin LaRoe, and these are antique cameras that she beads with these Australian crystals. But, ta-da, it's a little handbag.
Okay, this is like way too chic.
I love this. I want this.
I do too. That's great. That is so fabulous. But it's a great objet too.
Oh,
so it's a purse that doesn't have to go away.
Show that one too, because it's so beautiful.
This one here. Now, while I'm getting this one into place, talk to me about the centerpiece and how you made that.
All right. Well, I wanted it to look like a ramp or a catwalk, and so I just did pave flowers, and to keep the price down, I used just carnations and mums. And then I just put Erin's busts all the way down the center.
Now, what if we don't have these? What if we
You
don't
know what
have
would
these?
really be fun is to get a bunch of Barbie dolls and dress them up and put Barbie dolls down the center
cute.
if you're having a fashion themed dinner. And then down in front, Erin has these tiny little chairs that I've also used, as you can see down here, for the place cards.
That's so cool.
And then I just tied it off with the napkin rings have little fashion people
Very
in the
pretty.
front.
And this is just a little bit of Oasis with some carnations.
Oasis carnations
How easy is
and
that?
mums. And then look at this to view the fashion show with.
Oh my goodness, and I have one of these. That is.
I want these.
I have to have one of these, don't you?
I know.
Oh, Bell and Howell has never been happier.
I know.
Deborah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, coming up next, the big cover-up caper when we come back. So cool. Okay, smell. Model for me, girl.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're talking about the world of fashion and getting great decorating ideas from that world. Now, if you've taken a long, hard look at all your clothes, you might see that you have a style that's all your own. However, if you get tired of that classic little black dress, you can always add a scarf or a string of pearls to make it look fresh. So, can you do the same thing for your home? Well, of course you can. In fact, the lady you're about to meet strives to add color and extravagance to all that's plain. From lush life, clothing for the home, please welcome Susan Frank. Hi, Susan, how are you?
Christopher, nice to meet you.
Well, you look like you're having way too much fun with this stuff.
Oh, of course, that's what it's all about.
Before we go into a demo that you're going to show us some easy things to do, let's take a look at some of the things that are actually in your line. Now, do you have a website?
Not currently, but soon.
Well, by the time this airs, hopefully
Yes,
you'll have
I will,
one. Okay.
definitely.
Well, let's take a look first down here at this very colorful table. Now, let's start right from the top here. These are vases?
These are slip-covered vases with stretch mesh and
How
raffia
cool.
trim.
Very cool. So, obviously, when you go to fill that with water or to clean it, you just remove...
You can remove it, and you could also get it wet.
Oh, how cool.
Yes.
Oh, it's okay if it gets wet. That's great.
Yes.
Now, if we look down, we're getting into some sort of bar things now, huh?
Yes, we have a very large barware line. We have martini shakers.
Those are so much fun. What gave you... Where did this idea come from to start making these cozies?
Well, I just saw that everything in the home is really hard-edged, and there were so many beautiful fabrics in the world, and
Yeah.
I just started to marry the two.
Well, I think something that's also really cool, too, is if you've ever done a big dinner party and you've got 35 wine glasses to 150 wine glasses, and the minute you put your wine glass down, you don't know which is
one.
yours,
Yes.
you've got a great solution. If you look down way in the front there, you've got a wine to champagne glass there, and those are just little cozies.
Yes, they're called glass slippers.
Glass slippers. Oh, that's
And they're
cute.
boa and velvet.
Very
So
cute.
they keep your furniture protected also.
That's great. Now, I understand you got a little gift for me.
I do.
Uh-oh.
It's not currently in my line, but it's a decorated toilet bowl cleaner.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Well-dressed home must have.
They like me. They really like me. Oh, that's great. That's terrific. Wonderful. Now, you're going to show us how to take something as ordinary and plain as a terracotta pot and embellish it, right?
Yes.
Cool. Now, I'm going to put my gift over here.
Okay, great.
Put it with the other toilet brush holder, which we'll see in just a second. Okay, now.
Okay. Well, you could start with a clay pot.
Okay, just a
And-
plain old ordinary nursery item.
Right, and you
Okay.
could also use a plastic pot.
Okay.
And you could spray paint it if you like to cover up some of the edges that might not be.
So you don't have to worry
covered.
about covering everything if you can see a little
Right.
bit of this through it.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then what I take is some sequin fabric, and you could just hot glue
Yeah, it's coming.
carefully with your
Right.
glue gun.
Now, it's always a good idea when you have working with hot glue that you have something that will absorb some of the heat when you're pressing, right?
Right.
Is this going to go around the edge?
Yeah, you could do it around the edge, or you could do it on the base, anywhere your creativity takes you.
Cool.
So you go around the hole wherever you want to go.
Now, this has some stretch to it, too.
Yes,
so this,
I like
this
to use a lot of stretch fabrics.
Yeah, so
which
it'll
I
go
use
all
in
the
my
way
whole
around.
line.
Okay.
And then you could also use some marabou. But I like to take anything I have lying around the house, rhinestones and
Fun. Old
everybody
jewelry
has-
pieces, great buttons, stuff
yeah,
like that.
pearl, fake pearl necklaces, stuff like that. And you could do,
Here, again, I'm going to hold this.
and then you can, finish it off with feather. And then this is something. And you could, embellish it with silk flowers.
Oh, look at that. Isn't that great
You
looking?
have rhinestones here. all
Very
kinds of stuff.
pretty. So this is really about using your imagination and taking basically a different look at plain old ordinary things.
Right. And
Speaking of
softening
which,
it.
yes, let's go over and take a look at some of these things that you made just for the show. Now, you gave me this one to bring to my loo.
Yes.
Skip to my loo. Here's another one that you've done.
Could do with flowers and leaves.
It's so great looking.
Just, everybody has to have one in their bathroom.
Right. That'd be
Or
a
should
great
have one in
lampshade
the
too,
bathroom.
this way, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's how new ideas are born.
Yes.
Yes.
This is very sweet. Look at this little... This
Do
again is
multi-
just another one of the pots
Right.
covered.
Just do multi-flowers.
Very pretty.
You could do, and over there I put rhinestones on the leaves to make them look like dewdrops.
Yes. Let me move that a little so we can take a look at that. There we go. We can see the little... That's very sweet. Now, this is all done. This is just an ordinary pot, and you've got some real flowers and oasis
Yes.
inside, right?
Just for your show.
Uh-oh, what am I seeing here?
We also made some, you could decorate anything in your home. So
Oh,
we
look
made
at
some
this.
brooms for you.
Isn't this great? Oh, these
ideas are
are
just
too pretty to use. It's sort of like Torval and Dean,
Yes.
right?
Just imagine what you could wear while you're
Let's take
sweeping
a
with
look at
that.
this one up here. Oh, look at exactly. Oh,
Some
how
other
fun. So this is really about using your imagination. Let's take a look at a couple of other things that you do in your sort of leopard rhinestone area.
Right. These are our hot hangers.
The padded hangers are great. Yeah. Now, these are just over the regular plastic hangers. Okay. And then you've got
trash cans.
Trash can here, and here again, these are all slip covers. So these are removable.
Yeah, they're all removable. You can clean them. You can wash them. The feather just dries. You let them air dry.
Oh, is that right? I was wondering if they would match. Down here, when I'm pointing down
Can I
here.
take that?
Yeah.
This is a toilet roll cover.
Oh, I see.
So this whole line is called Tish, Tush, and Trash.
What is it?
Tish, Tush, and Trash.
Tish, Tush, and Trash. Oh, that's so much fun.
There's the tissue box cover.
There's a tissue box cover. That's great. Oh, so this is, you just go ahead and buy this from the store and slip this over the top of it.
Right. Most of the stores sell it with a tissue box. We sell it with a tissue box.
Oh, you do? Oh, that's good. That's great.
For display, yeah.
So down below we have a couple of wine cozies, it looks like.
For wine bottles.
Those are great.
Yeah, and then we also have jewelry for the home now. We sell chokers that go on all the vases and the napkin rings.
Right. We look down below there, we can also see on the cocktail shaker, there's a little rhinestone thing around the bottom. And then there's the matching martini glass as well.
Right.
Very cool. So it's sort of breakfast at Tiffany's kind of a look there, huh?
The little black dress? The top, yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you
Susan.
so much.
You did a great job. Now I'm going to go say goodbye to everybody, okay? But before I say goodbye, I wanted to show you just one more quick walk by of some really beautiful pillows. These pillows are from a company called Cucino Home. And if this doesn't illustrate how fashion, function, and furnishings all come together, the 3S. Aren't these gorgeous? Take a look at some of these. This is a beautiful marabou trimmed piece, and this is a beautiful stamped velvet slipcover over a solid silk background, which is so gorgeous. This one here, which is so beautiful. This here is a reptile printed velvet with, here again, another feather trim on the outside. Extravagant, aren't they? I think that's so much fun. Here we see another one, which is so pretty, which is another stamped one. This is a little simpler. It doesn't have quite as much embellishment. And then this is my favorite. Love this big black one. Here, this is actually an inset in a mitered corner of cotton with a stamped velvet and a marabou trim, which I think is really, really terrific. Well, that is our show for today. My goodness, we had so much fun, and I hope you got some really great inspiration using the world of fashion as your launching point. Doesn't take much. Now, although we've talked a lot about haute couture, today, like every day, we try really hard to help you understand that so many of the skills that you employ each and every day are the exact same skills needed to be creative. Because in essence, choosing your wardrobe for the morning, putting on your makeup, even driving a car employs thousands of creative decisions. And the reason why we take them for granted, or we don't think these skills can be used directly or be applied to beautifying our surroundings, it's like everything else. It's because these skills are skills that we've mastered. And therefore, like everything else, we take it for granted. Just because we've been doing them over and over and over again, proving that practice does make perfect. These same creative skills have become so automatic, well, they've lost their importance to us. How sad that is. If we could just remember that this inventory of skills is there at our beck and call, and that it is only fear that blocks them. And it's only fear that prevents us from using them as part of our repertoire to be creative. So think about it. And maybe perhaps you'll be more willing to tap into your personal creativity and share your unique perspective with others, okay? You got the skill. All right, you can do it. Bye for now.